Hello and welcome back. This is ProTaleDev back with another Game Jam video, and this time it's the final day, or the fourth day technically for me, but the fifth day of the Game Jam, which is the Jame Gam, and we're still looking at Soul Link, and with the fourth and final day for me, we're going to be trying to close off this game and bring it to a close and then get it ready for submission. Now that's all, of course it's already done because it's after the Game Jam, so now let's go through the whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is the fact that this is the basic map that we left off in the previous days, this right here, and you'll notice immediately that I've actually built out a separate area just on the opposite side of the water pool. The reason I did this is because the map just felt too small. Now if I quickly press play here, you'll immediately see that it is very small, and you could easily just run around in circles in this just small area if you're being chased by enemies, but it would get really boring very quickly. So I added a new area which is over here. This little area is kind of added a lot more time spent on just a level design towards the end. But I had a lot more time on the final day to do so. Oh, I'm gonna die, probably. I played around with things like the health and the damage that these traps do as well, and did a lot more balancing for different things. Massive map extension. The crystals have been moved, so some of them are over here, 2 of them over here, and 3 of them over here. And lots of different spawns now on both sides. The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that yes, the crystal damage is now working, and as I mentioned, it's now doing a lot more damage than it was before. You have traps now do more healing than before, and now we have 3 different enemies types. Let's quickly show them off. So if I quickly go in here, again, these, I think I mentioned it in the previous day, but these models will be in the description of what I've used. But we have 3 different models and different sizes, so you have unique sizes, different damage amounts, and different health. And these will just be spawning in at random, depending on what wave it is and depending on what crystal you're on. So yep, the waves have been completely set up, and they no longer need to be worried about. All 5 crystals now work, so they'll despawn and respawn correctly, and different types of enemies will spawn. So if I quickly check here, we'll have 2 different types of enemies that spawn here. So we got the Minna, we got the Queen, oh, we got that standard, I mean, and then on the final 4th and 5th wave we have the Queen. A lot more health, a lot more difficult, does a lot more damage. Okay, so next, I did fix a lot of code. I don't want to go over it too much again. Already looked at a lot of the code, and some of it is very similar to how I've done it in the past. But really, the only code that we've added is, and the only script we've added is the intro move and the like menu code. So that brings us into our next thing to talk about, and that is the menu. So of course, in every game that I do, Game Jam, I always have a menu. I think it's important to have a menu no matter what, something you can go back to. It gives the player a little bit of comfort knowing that they can just drop out of their current game whenever they feel like it. So let's just click play here, and you can see this is our menu. So yeah, we have play, instructions, credits, controls, and quit. You'll see we can have a background here, so if I go in the scene, this is what our background looks like. It's just a small made up area similar to our other area, kind of just a little bit play on the game. You can see that our camera does move slightly, kind of like that little bit of effect for this game. We've also got our little enemies, so we got our enemies here, and we got our crystals. So it's a nice little overview of what the game is going to have, and you can see that our camera is just above looking at the water, which is our main thing in this game, the flammable yet normal water. So you can go in the instructions and you can have a read of what things do, so you can read about the links, the soul links, and you can also read about the how to destroy the crystals and how to win the game and get health back. We also got credits, of course, so this is all the different sources, the free music that I used that need to be sourced, as well as the packs that I used. Finally, we have the controls, which are very, very basic. I tried my best to explain how the mechanics of this game work. Unfortunately, I did get some complaints about people not knowing what to do. Even though it was in the instructions and it was in an intro scene, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So when I click play, what will happen is we'll actually go into an intro scene. So if I click this, you'll hear me talking. Stop! Who are you? I see, so you're part of the Soul Corpse division. You're going to deactivate the crystals in the dungeon alone? The number of monsters that will appear is huge. Are you sure? Very well. You're probably aware. And what that's actually doing is that's just looking into, just giving a quick description of and a quick introduction to the story. So you can click skip and that'll take you straight to the level. And then you can start from wave 1, obviously with the first crystal. You can still link and everything, and all the lights are set up as well. Okay, so let's move on to the actual feedback. So once that was pretty much how the game ended, and I felt like it was pretty much ready to be exported and ready to be submitted. This is just the scene. It's very simple. This is just the introduction. Very simple area, nothing too crazy. So once I was ready to submit it, I went into itch.io where I submitted it, and I went to the subscription, and I went to go and submit it. Now, the first thing I want to show you is the JameGam is right here. You can link, again, a link will be in the description to my itch.io, and you can just click on my game. It'll take you straight to here. Now we can look at the results, but again, the theme was highly flammable or explosive, and the special feature was totally non-water. I think I covered that pretty well. If we go to submissions, you can see all the games that we did, and as you can see, I've rated them all, and that's just something I usually always try and do. Is I always try and give a very good description. So as you can see, I managed to add in my own feedback, and I tried to be as detailed as possible. So yeah, I rated all these and I played them all and had a lot of fun. There's some really interesting ideas in this and I really enjoyed it. So going back into my game, as you can see, I ranked first in visuals, first in story. I was actually one of the only ones who had a bit of a story and an introduction. I actually came second because my gameplay was quite buggy and people couldn't quite understand what to do. Also, the waves were very long and the health was quite high for enemies, so it felt like they couldn't progress. Then we have the special feature implementation. This one I was a little bit confused why I got a little bit of a lower score, but it wasn't that low, so that's fair. Fun factor, I can imagine it was a little bit difficult for people if they couldn't quite understand the mechanics and the gameplay, so I imagine the fun factor probably wasn't great. It also wasn't too original idea of just having a dungeon crawler wave system. It's not crazy original. I just thought that the soul mechanic was unique. And then the theme implementation was probably the weakest. Now if we look at the theme again, if we just quick look at what the theme was, the theme was actually highly flammable and or explosive. So I presume they maybe wanted me to split it. So they wanted things that are explosive or flammable and not really involve the water, and have the totally normal water separate, but I took it as one mechanic as a whole. But overall that score is not too bad. Overall I came second, so I'm happy with that. So now let's go down to our feedback. Now unfortunately I only got one person who gave feedback, which is very, very unfortunate. It was actually one of the lower rated. My game was actually lower rated than other games on here. I find that that's sometimes the case with game jams. Even though I have rated all of the games and tried them all, usually you may only get 1 or 2 people. I think I only got 3 ratings from this, which is a little bit unfortunate. And I only got 1 person who gave his feedback, which is very, very unfortunate. However, I can still take away something from it because I did get feedback. I also got a little bit of feedback on Discord with the server that I was connected to, and the things that they gave back were the graphics were a little bit glitchier, and they couldn't figure out how the Soul Link connects sometimes. This is partially because of the distance. you actually have to be in a certain distance in order for the link to work and activate, and it wasn't really visually, it didn't give you a visual cue on how close you need to be in order to link. I just didn't get time to do that. Originally it was going to be an icon, and I just didn't get time. So this guy puts he likes the game, the visuals and the mechanics are a bit wonky, but overall it's okay. It can be a little bit frustrating to link up, and again that's because of the distance. We also have an instant disappearing, and that's partially sometimes to do with the linking and partially to do with re-clicking it when you're a certain distance away, because you don't know that you're far enough away. If you reactivate it when you're out of range, again it'll disconnect it, and that's something that people didn't quite get, and it's again something I didn't get to put in, is the distance. If anything, I probably should have had maybe a bigger distance, and I needed a way to visually show the player when they're connected and when they can connect. Lastly, the thing that I added in was music and obviously audio for the introduction. I want to quickly mention it, but the music was free, of course, but I did add that in just before submission. So overall, I really enjoyed this game jam. I like introducing new things and doing new things, and this was overall a really fun game jam. This will be the last game jam I do for a little while, because I plan on working on the Tycoon game, which is Dungeon Farm Tycoon, and I've also got some things going on outside of these game jams and outside of these projects that I've got to deal with. So overall, it was a really fun game jam, and I'm quite happy with it. Let's just end this off by just playing some of this. I really focused on visuals this game jam, which I never really do, and I usually focus on gameplay more than visuals, but this time I really wanted to focus on visuals, and I feel like I really accomplished something this time. So I hope you enjoyed watching my Soul Link videos. This has been ProTaleDev, and I'll see you next time.